Welcome, this is God Talk. Thank you for finding us. We're still in a different studio. This is called Studio 3, but it's God Talk, and I'm here, and we're going to talk about ways in which God makes a difference in our life. Thank you for being with us, and I hope you'll enjoy this theme. We were at John McCain's prison in Hanoi Hilton in Vietnam. I've been 4 or 5 times now. Every time we go, I take another group, we go back again. You see a room where they've made life-size models of all the prisoners that were there a generation ago. And you can see this is where communism began to come, because they're all in there together. And they're seething mad at what has happened to them from the French. And they were treated so terrible. You read all these inscriptions and the life that was in that prison, men and women. 150 tried to escape. They have a little piece of cement, a little sewage channel, and they did go into that sewage channel and get out. Had to cut through metal gate. So unhappy with where they were, wanting to be better and different, they become revolutionaries. And you may not agree, I don't agree with what they tried to become, but I understand what they wanted to do. They wanted to be free. They wanted their country to be different. They wanted life to be better than that. I have a friend who was in the Great Escape in prison camp in Germany. He's passed away now. Adventist teacher in our school in Newbury Park. Wasn't in the movie really, but he was a part of that group that was digging that tunnel, crawling down in the dirt, in the darkness. Use a spoon or something small, scrape away some dirt, put the dirt in your pockets, get crawled out, go dump it in the toilet, do it again, day after day, all day, day and night, in order to get out. Want their life to be better than where they are. If you watch an old, terrible movie called Papillon, I've not watched the whole thing, watched most of it. These 2 guys keep getting in jail and escaping, putting in a worse jail. What motivates you? Get better. Get a better life. Finally ride a little raft of coconuts 20 miles back home. And Jesus stands in front of Peter and the disciples, and he says in John 13:6, Peter says, "You're going to wash my feet?" And he said, "You're never going to wash my feet." Jesus said, "If I don't wash your feet, you're going to be lost." Peter is saying, I want to keep things the way they are. I like my life the way it is. I don't want to change anything. I don't want to do the hard work to get better. And Jesus says, then you'll lose everything. If you'll let me wash, I'll wash it all. And Peter says, okay, wash me. We don't want to work that hard to change. We don't want to lose weight. We don't want to get in shape. We don't want to clean up the places on our garage that are a mess. Don't want to go back to school. Don't want to get better. Let me be here. And some of us are that way with Christianity. We get to a certain point and then we just stop. This is okay. This is the level I want to be at. I don't want to be the religious superstar. I don't want to be the fanatic. I don't want to be too active. I don't want to go be missionary. I don't want to be giving all my money. Let me go to church, go home. And Jesus says, I like to wash that. Let me wash your feet. Let me take you to the next level. D. Hawk was the president and chairman of Visa. Wrote an article. I've used this article for class for many years. But he talks about how most people think that you should spend 90% of your time bossing the people below you. maybe a few percent of your time the people above you. He said, no. Out of 100%, maybe 15, 20% for the people above you. You got to keep them informed, keep them happy. You got to have some percent of the time on your colleagues, the people that you have to collaborate with. Maybe 15, 20% for the people below you. But he said 50% is on managing yourself, self-management. Reading, learning, going to seminars, reflecting, learning from mentors and models around you. He says if you will work on self-development, self-management, the rest of it will sort out. How to get better, lifelong. I was with Ralph Watts, one of my heroes, on the board of LLBN. He's in his, starting to be late 80s now. President of many conferences, union, president of ADRA for 17 years. Great man. We had lunch last week and he said, he's reading a book by Doris Kearns Goodwin on leadership. I said, you should be writing the book on leadership. Trying to get better, trying to learn something. 86, 87 years old. One more level. And Jesus says, if I don't wash you, you won't have any part of me. Peter says, wash me. Wash everything. You know who this is? Peter is a Christian. Peter left everything to follow Jesus. He has seen the guy come through the roof. He's a disciple of Jesus. He is following around with Jesus. They have cast demons out. They've helped heal people, pass out the 5,000, food to the 5,000. He has seen people risen from the dead. He has one of the three that went to the top of the mountain and saw the Mount of Transfiguration. He saw it. He says, let's build 3 temples here in your honor. It's Peter. Peter is a Christian. His sins are forgiven. His name is on the list. He's a follower of Jesus. But Jesus says, I want to take you to the next level. Keep getting better. Don't stop here, Peter. What if Peter had accepted that back then? Maybe he wouldn't have denied Christ. Maybe something else, another pathway would have happened. We'll never know what we could have done or could have accomplished if we just stopped where we are. We're Christian, we're followers of Jesus, we go to church, we play the game the way most people play it. But Jesus comes and says, let me wash some more. Let me take you to the next level with God. And we'll never know what we could have done and what we could have avoided because we denied Christ here or here somewhere. Not easy to face it when Jesus comes and says, I want to take you to another level. We think we're already there, maybe. Hard to admit that we've got some areas that are flat sides or some rough areas that need to be smoothed off if we can be used more powerfully for God. We brought in a car from somewhere, Oregon, I think. These friends of mine fixed up a car and got it all going and said, Dan, we got a great car for you. So I went up and got it, drove it in. You had, I think, 10 days to get it registered, which I didn't do. I don't know if I even knew I had to do it in 10 days. So I finally get around to make an appointment, drive over there to the DMV, stand in line. Finally, I'm up there and give her the date and the document. She said, I don't think you brought it on that date. I think you really brought it. And I didn't grasp quickly what she was trying to do. I said, maybe I got the dates wrong. So I accepted it, went home, and I began to ponder that and realized she was lying for me. She was trying to save me a big $300 or $400 fine because I registered it too late. What to do? Not my problem. I didn't lie, she lied. Play the game in your brain. Not my problem. I don't have time to go deal with this. Don't have the $400. We were very poor back then. Stare at your soul that you let a lie be told on your behalf. Had to get in the car the next day, drive over to the DMV, stand in line. I got a different lady. I said, I don't want to get whoever this was in trouble. I don't know if they knew, could see who it was. But I think they tried to help me save some money, and I can't do it. I brought the car in on this date. I'll pay whatever fine. I think I had to write a check for $300-400, which was a humongous amount of money to us back then. We all have these little gaps. Call in sick. Tell them I'm not home. Maybe not be quite so accurate in our tax, whatever it is. We hold back a little money from the tithe and offerings, or we do something on the Sabbath that doesn't honor God and bless us on the Sabbath. And we hear a little voice, like Jesus in front of Peter saying, let me wash you. Let me transform you, take you to another level. There's one more level, Pastor Dan. It's not, don't stop here. Let's go further. I have more I could do with you if you'll just let me transform that part. All right. We're Christians. Jesus has forgiven our sins. We're going to heaven. But God wants to take us to another level. Will you say yes? Will we be transformed? Now, how does Jesus actually do it? How to be practical about this? Sometimes I think we believe what I call Alka-Seltzer religion. You get up in the morning, you don't feel good. Take a pill, stick it in a bottle, let it fizz around, drink that drink down, and we forget all about it. We go about our business. We hope that somewhere down in our inner part of our life, the Alka-Seltzer is working. And we get up in the morning and we say, God, help me today, help me follow you, help me represent you well, help me be a good person, and we go. And our brain is completely focused on living, and we hope that that prayer gives God permission to do Alka-Seltzer and change us and transform us someplace. No, He works on our mind. He works us to think through, to be a new kind of person. I'm going to say, first of all, I have several M's. He works through models and mentors. He brings holy people around that we can copy and we see, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be more like that. I want to be more powerful. Ralph Watts is one that I want to say, I want to be like you when I grow up. I used to pastor at Newbury Park Academy out in north of Los Angeles, a couple hours. And I had two brothers in my church there. One of my brothers is a pastor at Alhambra now, had his little boy, Kenton. We watched Kenton grow up from 1, 2 to about 3 years old when we left. And I'll never forget going down to the field. Some of the high school boys were out playing football, Sunday afternoon, I think. And they had taken their bikes. There was no bike rack, and they just laid their bikes over in the grass. So Kenton had rolled his tricycle down to the field, and he's watching them play. But he very carefully took his tricycle and tipped it over so it would be like all the bicycles. The power of seeing models and wanting to be like them, like the big boys. Tricycle. I went to high school in Singapore. We were always a generation behind the styles of America. Kids would come back and they would tell us, no, it's like this, and then we would copy them or see a picture. But while I was there, we had a certain dress code on Sabbath. Short sleeve white shirt, really hot. Thin black tie. Skin tight black pants. And the pants stopped at the top of your socks where you had white socks and black shoes. That was the uniform. You didn't come onto the bus to go to church dressed like that. They'd laugh you off the bus. I can show you pictures from the annual. After 3 years, we flew back here to the States. We landed in New Jersey to go to General Conference Session, 1970. We stayed in a campground or somewhere, and we dressed up in our clothes, and we went to youth room for church. We were so far out of style. They are wearing bell-bottom pants. They are wearing bright, colorful, blue, purple, pink shirts. And they're wearing big, fat tie, paisley ties, polka dot ties, full of color ties. we went back to our tent where we were camping, and we said to our mother, we're not going back until we get different clothes. Well, they didn't have any money. I think they got me one shirt. My mother bought some cloth, stayed up at night to make some big ties. We wanted to be like everybody else. The power of models. I can remember being in the guest room with Dwight Nelson. We did all of our doctoral classes together, room together. Pastor of Andrews now for so many years. And you're with someone for 2 or 3 weeks. And they kneel down by the side of the bed and pray for 30, 40 minutes, whatever. Oh, it should be like that. I told you, Ralph Watts, in his 80s, still raising money for projects around the world. Now he's raising money for women's projects. He said, Pastor Dan, I've been working for a man all my life. I'm going to help women now. Women have got a raw end of the deal. So he's been doing women's clinics for babies and women issues. Laos, Myanmar, Cambodia, Nepal last year. This year is Philippines. He'll maybe raise 50,000, 100,000. I said, I want to be like you when I grow up. Models and mentors. Use them. People that God puts into your life that are holy and righteous, that have an area that maybe you want to grow in and goes, oh, I want to be more like that. We go down to Mexico. We would help build these little houses for people, what they call Amor, Tecate, Tijuana. I don't know how to build. I got assigned building a wall. I had no idea what to do. I never built a wall. I want to read these plans. A guy named Jeff. He's a volunteer too, but he knows more than me. So they assigned him to kind of mentor our group, and he came over and says, all right, let's go build a wall together. Oh, that's how you do it. Okay. I don't know if I could do it today, but I know better than I did. Follow a model and a mentor. And God will use that. Mistakes. Sometimes we need to learn from our mistakes. Some people have good judgment. Some people have bad judgment. How do the good people have good judgment? Because they used to have bad judgment, and they made mistakes, and they learned from it. Almost everything I know is because I messed up somewhere. And we would sit at church and our staff meeting and talk about, okay, be careful, don't do that. Okay, be careful with this. How did we? Because we made mistakes. That didn't work, and we would get together and say, that didn't work so well. How can we fix that? Do it better. We have our new TV show called LLBN Worship. It's live. You can't make mistakes. It's live. But there have been some mistakes. And we meet afterwards. Okay, just fix that. Sometimes it's me, sometimes someone else. We learn how to make it better. Don't waste the mistakes. The great pitchers, Clayton Kershaw, all the others, they have photographic memory of the time they've served up home run balls. Same guy comes up and says, okay, don't do that again. They have memory. People who are golfers, they learn, okay, that shot didn't go well. Don't do that again. They learn from mistakes. Don't waste mistakes. We tell kids, don't waste mistakes. What you made, other people's mistakes, don't waste it. A bunch of my son's young friends, 20-somethings, were in our house. All these guys are talking about all their great lines to help get girls. I said, you guys should write a book on all your wisdom. And I said, how's it working for you? Not one of them had a girlfriend. I said, we're learning. We're learning. We're piling up all our mistakes until we figure out some things that actually work. Don't waste your mistakes. Learn from them. Number 3, mirrors. I call it mirrors. God will bring people into your life. They may not say anything to you, but you see them. And you'll say, is that what I do? It's different from models and mentors. They're giving you wisdom. These people are making the same mistake, but you don't see it, but you see it in your mirror. I had a lady in my church. Toughest nails on kids and people. criticizing me, criticizing people all the time. She was a school teacher in our little school. She drove those kids crazy. She's a good teacher. But boy, she was on them all the time. I can tell you stories. I moved away from there, got married. Hilda and I went back up there one time, just wanted her to see my life. And she told Hilda, didn't tell me, but told Hilda, they had been had a student missionary come and stay in their home who was even more conservative than she was. You shouldn't eat that. Do you know what's wrong with that? No. And it was a mirror. And she says, is that how I come across? Is that what I am doing to other people? Snapped her out of it. And God used a mirror in front of her. I saw her later and just, wow, godly, righteous, Christian, kind lady. Mirrors. I'm going to use one that you may not think about, but I think that God uses it. Movies. I have all these M's. You may think God doesn't use movies, but He does. He uses stories in the Bible. The sanctuary system looks like a movie. Even the cross is like a movie. At the end of the world, we're told we're going to have a panorama. And God uses movies to teach a point. And we're going to see Jesus die on the cross in that great panorama. It's powerful. And it has the power to make everybody kneel down. Every knee will bow. Every tongue will confess. The power of movies. People who make movies, now some are silly. But there's a lot of movies. They're not just trying to tell you a story. They're trying to teach you a truth, a philosophy that they have, whether you agree with it or not. And you sit down to watch a 2-hour movie, and this idea explodes inside, and it gets inside your brain because of a story. Someone told me I should watch the movie Crash, Academy Award, one day in Los Angeles. But it'll expose any piece of prejudice and judgment you still have in you. Hard to watch. Boy, do I do that? Roots. It wasn't easy to watch Roots when it came out. Alex Haley. What we did to slavery and the life, and you say, do I do any of these things? Painful. Schindler's List. German man sold everything he had in order to buy freedom for all the Jews that were working for him. What am I willing to do? What am I willing to give up to help other people, save other people, help a kid go to school or whatever? Schindler's List. The Chosen. I've read everything Chaim Potok has ever written. Movie Chosen. These Jewish guys are brilliant and smart, and they're wrestling because they want to hold on to their religion, but they're wrestling with some modern issues. And as I read those books, it was exactly where I was living. I love my church and my family. I've been in the church 100 years. But then when you face something that doesn't fit what you learned, and you say, you live at this point of intersection between the new and the old. And I learn from these movies and these books. John Grisham writes all these books about law. I think I've read every one. He's a Christian, so they're fairly clean. But in every book, he is taking on an issue. One book will be the gun lobby. Another book will be tobacco. Something else. Capital punishment. And he is trying to tell a story for 400 or 500 pages, and he weaves in his agenda. And when you read the book, if you're not careful, it'll affect you. And you say, boy, I got to fight for that too. That's wrong. And you cheer when the people get something right and they do justice. It's the power of movies. And there may be some movies that are bad. I'm not trying to fight that battle. I'm not trying to tell you where to go to watch them. But I'm saying movies and books and art have power to affect us, to take us to another level. Say, I want to get better. I don't want to do that. I want to do something. I call them maxims, like Proverbs. There are certain maxims. Sometimes they call it wisdom literature. People, maybe not just the Bible. Bible has a lot. Ellen White. People who have thought about life and reflected, and they write, and they're icons. They're They're classics of literature. And you can get something good from it. The golden rule wasn't just in Christianity, it's everywhere. Every religion, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Confucius, the man who asks a question is a fool for a minute. But a man who doesn't ask a question is a fool for life. It's good. If they spit at you from behind, at least they're behind you, you're ahead. Maxims. Ben Franklin, 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. Gandhi, an eye for an eye will only make everyone blind. Proverbs in the book of the Bible. Find those proverbs in the wisdom literature and read and saturate that, and you'll be a better person and help transform us to be better. I've got some, I'm retired now, I'm reading some things. They're good. Make me better. Question is, finally, is it worth it? Is it worth it to try to get better? To say, I'm not going to accept where I'm at. I'm a Christian, I'm in church, I'm okay, I'm better than most people. And Jesus says, I'm going to take you to the next level. Let me wash that area. The old metaphor of the big mansion, and Jesus comes to a door and he knocks, and he says, let me clean this room. Let me give you one more tool in your tool chest. I was having lunch in the Philippines with a family, a friend of mine, president of the union. His daughter was in a great choir of the ambassadors. We had some mango ice cream. She said, I can't have any. Why not? Our choir director says, ice cream not good for your voice. Willing to never eat ice cream so that she could sing better, be the best choir. You think about people that are just great. You think of Emma Stone. Just got married to somebody whose father is a friend of mine. Great actress, La La Land, fantastic. The number of hours she had to practice. And the guy, Ryan, in order to do La La Land, and she gets a Best Actress award for Academy Awards. Is it worth it? Russell Westbrook, I watched his workout in the summer so hard. And maybe one of the best top 5 players in the world. To be the best. Young Vietnamese pastor I know had to skip class every Saturday, all growing up, got D's and F's all along. Now he's 45, 46 years old, leader in Vietnam. They invited him to go to a great school. And here he was, a D student, and now he's speaking for graduation. Made himself better, getting his doctorate right now. I help send books over to him. Is it worth it to get better? And God says, let me wash that area and transform that area of your life and take you to the next level. Yes. He ran a marathon the other day, raised $42,000 in Vietnam for the work. Power. God keeps blessing him. I invite you to just give, said, Jesus, if you want me to take to another level, I'm willing to go. This is God Talk. See you next week.